creative or the innovative process actually requires two other steps as well. One of them is prudent risk-taking, and the other one is testing assumptions. Now, we've already done that with the brick. We actually did test assumptions. We thought the brick was just a brick. It's only used for building things, but it actually can be used for just about anything you really want it to be. We assumed that the brick was only used for building. Of course, we all know that assume is actually a compound word. We don't need to actually spell it out. I think we all know what that stands for. But let's go back to taking prudent risks. What exactly is a prudent risk? Well, certainly every activity that we do, there's a certain risk involved. Me walking up here on stage, I can suddenly trip, fall flat on my face. That'd be pretty funny, except to me maybe. But either way, there's a risk. I could just trip right now. So what it really comes down to is probability versus possibility. You have to actually think of it that way, because otherwise, if we try to stop and quantify each risk and then plan a mitigation strategy, a way that we're going to get around it, we never do anything. We never go anywhere. It's just way too risky. So obviously, we have to have a system for actually evaluating prudent risk and a non-prudent risk. So let's say we're taking a hot shower. Well, there's certainly risk in taking a hot shower. You can slip and fall in the bathtub. You can burn yourself on the hot water. But for some reason, we don't really think of that as a particularly risky adventure. So for us, that would actually be a prudent risk. A non-prudent risk would be while you're in the shower, you decide, hey, I'm going to check out that latest dance move and start moving around on the floor. Or better yet, I'm going to start doing acrobatics. I bet you I could take a shower standing on my head. All right, well, that might not exactly be a prudent risk. That might be a little bit harder to actually go ahead and rationalize. It's really the same thing with the creative and the innovative process. We need to actually be able to take the prudent risk of creating, of innovating, of thinking beyond what actually has already been thought of. In some ways, it really is reflective of change management itself. I mean, after all, if you're creating something, you're changing something. If you're changing a reality of some sort. And there are two kinds of changes. One change is adaptive change. An adaptive change might be a tweak or a minor change. For instance, if we're talking about a wheel, and I wanted to go ahead and improve the radial or the tread on that wheel, okay, well, that's an adaptive change. You've made a change. There's a lot lower risk involved with that, a lot lower overall reward, but you have made a change. The other change, of course, is the innovative or the radical change. And that's really a game changer. We are really reinventing the wheel. This is something that is brand new. And we actually need both of those in the creative and the innovative process. We really need to ask ourselves, what's wrong with being a radical? Or better yet, as I like to say, why the hell not? Why wouldn't we want to go ahead and do that? Yeah, there's a little bit more risk, the risk of failure, but at the same point in time, nothing worth inventing actually got invented without somebody putting themselves out there, actually taking a risk. Comes the same thing when it comes to creative process. We actually have to put ourselves out there a little bit. Now, a corporation needs both. You need adaptive changers and you need radical changers. You need both. They have to work in concert. There's a necessity and a demand for both of them. So if we're doing both, we are taking prudent risks and we're also being able to do a lot more by itself. Both are necessary, both are in demand, both should be constantly employed.